Jai Hind, this is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. Welcomes you to another session on India's national security. I hope you can hear me properly and you can see me properly. Today we are going to talk on two important issues. First topic is a good success achieved by Maharashtra police in carrying out
Hello,
anti-nexal
hello,
operations
hello.
in the forest of
Mm.
Gadchiroli, in which 26 Nakshals have been killed. So that is one issue on which we are going to talk about the state of Naxalism in Maharashtra and in the central part of our country. The second issue about which I'll talk will be the ambush which took place yesterday, that is northeast in Manipur area on the Myanmar Manipur border, in which CO 46 Assam Rifles Colonel Tripathi, along with his wife and his QRT, was martyred. We will talk about the various challenges to national security that come repeatedly in the Northeast. So these two important topics is what we'll talk about. And to talk to me on this very important first issue of anti-Naxal operations or anti-Maoist operations, present with me here on the Facebook today is ex-DGP of Maharashtra Police, Shri Praveen Dixit. Shri Praveen Dixit does not require an introduction. He is a very well-known IPS officer who's contributed immensely to making state of Maharashtra secure. He has a tremendous knowledge, tremendous ground experience of dealing with law and order problem, also dealing with Naxalism. He was also the police commissioner in Nagpur, which basically controls the anti-Naxal operations in the district of Gadchiroli. So he has a lot of experience there. We will discuss yesterday's operation with him in detail, and we'll also see as to what needs to be done to improve the success rate further. Before I get Shri Praveen Dixit inside, let me tell you about few facts with regard to Naxalism. Naxalism, also called as Maoist, also called as left-wing extremist, also called as left-wing terrorist. Names are different, but they are the people who are carrying out a lot of destructive activities in the central part of the country. The states where they are most active are the states of Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and district of Maharashtra, Gadchiroli, which is bordering the Chhattisgarh interstate boundary. It is basically spread out in the area of Dandakaranya forest, and Abuj Mart is a place which is repeatedly talked about, which is supposed to be a place where most of the training camps and administrative camps of these people are located. They cause a tremendous amount of loss to Indian state. They ensure that no development takes place there. And if you look at what has happened in last about 4 to 5 years, what we find is that because of relentless offensive operations done by the security forces, that is the state police plus central armed police forces like the BSF, etc., we are doing a good job. And today, the level of violence of Naxalism is dropped down by
Hello,
nearly
hello,
50%.
hello,
Casualties which used to be in the region of 7 to 800 per year in the
hello.
entire state. Dixit साहेब तुम्ही मला दिसता आहात आय कॅन सी यू प्रॉपरली
हा.
आय कॅन सी यू
तुम्हाला ऐकू येतं?
हो
मी
ऐकू
जे
येते
बोलेल ऐकू
तुमचा
येतं?
हो तुमचा आवाज येतोय मला अगदी
ओके.
क्लिअर आहे आपण जस्ट मी फक्त इंट्रोडक्टरी रिमार्क्स देतो आहे आणि आय जस्ट कम टू यू इन अ मिनिट तुमचा आवाज
ठीक आहे.
पण येतो आहे तर
ठीक आहे.
श्री दीक्षित इज ऑनलाईन अगेन नाउ there were some technical issues earlier. So what I was telling you was about the state of Naxalism in the country today. Lot of violence, lot of developmental activities get stopped. Like we wanted to start the coal mines, etc., that you can't stop, etc. And there are external forces, especially China, which are helping them. So whether it is Naxals, whether it is Maoist, whether you call them left-wing extremists, whether you call them left-wing terrorists, it is one and the same thing. It's almost a proxy war which has been launched against India by China and its supporters. Now, to come back to yesterday's encounter, uh, you all must have read the news that a wonderful operation was done by the Maharashtra police led by the C-60 commandos, in which 26 Nakshals or Maoists have reportedly been killed. It includes some top leaders, including Mr. Teltumde. Of course, the confirmation is awaited only when the bodies are brought and identified from surrendered Nakshals. Then only we can be sure of it. But all said and done, initial reports definitely point out to a good operation done by C-60 commandos. So, and of course, the Maharashtra police. Now, I want to ask Shri Praveen Dikshit as to how do you look at this operation? What were the reasons that led to success? And please tell us more about the C-60 commandos and the anti-Naxal operations that are regularly being carried out by Maharashtra police. Over to Shri Praveen Dikshit.
Thank you, Brigadier Ji, Mr. Mahadan. Nice of you to have me on the platform and explain my ideas on this very crucial subject. First of all, we have to congratulate the Maharashtra police as well as the entire team, which also consisted of the paramilitary forces from the Government of India and particularly the special force called C-60. As you are aware, the Naxal movement has been going on for a long time, right from 1967 in the country, and in Maharashtra, particularly from 1980 onwards. Now, this movement has seen many ups and downs, and the approaches have been adopted differently. First of all, it was that it was just considered as a law and order situation, and therefore the police were pressed into service, accompanied by the State Reserve Police, known as the SRPF. However, over the years, particularly in the last 6-7 years, the approach has been much different. The approach is that now we have to win over the hearts and minds of the persons who are occupied in this particular area. Simultaneously, we have to see that the developmental activities, particularly the construction of roads, the banking services, the commerce, the other industries, they are also encouraged. In addition, the young generation from this particular area has to be brought into the mainstream, and therefore a lot of job orientation, job openings were provided. Many of them were recruited in the regular forces, including the C-60 or the police or the paramilitary, and thus carrot and stick approach was considered more appropriate, and that has resulted in providing valuable I would say intelligence from the local people about the existence, movement, various activities by the Naxals in the entire area. So this is a particular area which you will appreciate, the crucial part of Dandakaranya, where Gadchiroli, that is Maharashtra, bordering with Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, they are meeting almost at a place. And this area is known also as the Abujmal Pahad. Now, this Abujmal Pahad is an area where neither the colonial powers nor the subsequent rulers have been able to penetrate or reach in between. And that has created a big hideout for the entire Naxal movement by creating their forte in this particular area. Now, this is an area which is dominated by them, and they are using it freely for their movement, for training purposes, for doing their firing practices, for conducting their camps, for even storing their weapons and various objectionable things. And the moment, this particularly being an area where a lot of hills and thick jungles are there, it is very difficult for the paramilitary forces or the police forces to reach there. As soon as they are noticed, they are identified, and the Naxals would open fire and eliminate them. So that has been the practice for several years. However, of recently, the force which has been created by the government of Maharashtra and known as C60. It is basically a force which consists of the locals. And these are the local people who know how to reach these jungles without getting exposed. They know how to talk to the local people. They also are aware about the movements because these Naxals, they don't remain in particular place for a long time. They are constantly on the move because they are also afraid that the police, if they are aware, would come and attack them. So they keep on moving from time to time. But these C60 forces, they have been able to get these pinpointed information. Moreover, as you are aware, the last 3-4 years, we have been successful in identifying as well as arresting many of the top Naxal, including some women Naxals, alive. And the interrogation of these people, that has helped in unearthing the various operations, various training facilities, the modus operandi, and the way they recruit the young generation, etc. So that has created a good awareness. On the side of it, the police has also now better equipped with modern weapons, which earlier there was a resistance or there was a delay, but that has been taken care. They are having better vehicles, better weapons, better ammunition, and more than that, the important part is the training. So the paramilitary forces and the local police, they are having excellent training, particularly regarding the improvised explosive devices or IEDs, which was the best part for the Naxals to explode the vehicles and kill the police or the paramilitary forces in big numbers. So that has been neutralized by the operations, including the clearance, whatever we call it as before any movement. The entire area is sanitized and cleared of all the potential dangers. So that has reduced the chances of unnecessary deaths or injuries or accidents on the forces side. However, because of the better intelligence, we are in a much better position to go to the precise areas. Otherwise, earlier it used to happen that because of the either fear or because of the lack of communication between the locals and the police, only after the Naxals have passed away or gone from that area, then some people will come and tell you so and so Naxals had come. Or it will be like it was like an alibi. So the police forces would be invited or lured into the fact that the Naxals are here, there, and all that. And so once the police come, they will be ambushed. And serious incidents have taken place when senior officers, policemen, including paramilitary forces, they were the victims and they became the casualties of these unethical operations on the other side. But now it is the other way around. Now we have turned the tables, and we are, if you recall, say about 3 years ago, there was another major operation in the borders between Gadchiroli and Chhattisgarh, and 40 Naxals were eliminated. And that had dealt death blow to the Naxal movement in that area, particularly their leader called Sainath. He was eliminated. And he was, it seems, replaced by his Milind Teltumde, who was then made the chief of Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh, whatever they call as the area. And he was leading these operations. Side by side, if you recall, the last, last 2 and 3 years, after this Bhima Koregaon incident, the top leaders of Naxal movement, known as the urban Naxals, or they were the persons who were actually spearheading the movement in cities in various manners, including providing the funding, including getting the equipment including getting the medical support, including getting their regular other resources, and most importantly, the new recruits to be recruited from the top universities or various other academic institutions. So that has now, since as you are aware, most of them are behind bars. And that has really put a brake on their entire morale, their support, their other activities, because these were the persons who were also instrumental in getting the aid to them, not only within the country, but also from internationally. There were international, I mean, we are having reliable information to suggest that there were definite persons and organizations, including from some of the developed countries like USA, Canada, Europe, UK, as well as China and Myanmar and other countries. So the international aid was also coming in. And in fact, this was the plan of them to get the international aid to boost up their weapon and ammunitions, and even eliminate the democratically elected, including the Prime Minister of the country, so that there will be a chaos and total anarchy in the Indian democratic system. So that was the entire operation. And the incident of yesterday, I see as it's a tip of the whatever was happening for last so many years. And that has resulted, as I said, number one, the morale of the police force is very high. They are having better equipments, better weapons, better vehicles, and all these things. Number two, the leadership, that is very encouraging. As you are aware, the Superintendent of Police in Gadchiroli has been right from the day one making very good efforts, I would say, in winning over the trust of the locals. More than 75,000.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you
more
very
than
much for your, thanks a lot, Pravinji, for your detailed account of how the movement has progressed and how we are making an all-out effort to counter it. I would want you to take over to a slightly different angle of the same problem. That is, there are a large number of central armed police forces like the Border Security Force, the CISF, the Seema Suraksha Bal, the CRPF, etc., working alongside the state police. And in Maharashtra also, we have a large number of them. So I would want you to comment on how good is the coordination between the police, the local police, and the CAPF, which are operating in Maharashtra. That is one part I would want you to cover. Secondly, what we must understand is, as you had initially said, that Nakshals move from one area to another. If pressure increases in the state of Maharashtra, they will go in Chhattisgarh, they will hide in Abusmar, they will hide in some other corner. So therefore, what is important is that when Maharashtra police carry out any operations, if an operation is not carried out simultaneously by, let's say, the Chhattisgarh police also, or Chhattisgarh CAPF also, or for that matter, Jharkhand also, then the strength of police or CAPF, which is almost 2.5 lakh in this area, will be felt. Otherwise, if you carry out an isolated operation in Maharashtra, while there is no operation going on in Chhattisgarh, these people get a chance to escape into the areas of Chhattisgarh, and similarly in Jharkhand, or similarly in Orissa, etc. So coordination between the states is another point I would want you to talk about. And third point that I would want you to highlight is the role of technology. People talk a lot about drones. Pakistanis have been using drones to drop arms and ammunition from across the international border in Punjab, etc. And a lot of, you would have seen that in Iraq and Iran, they are being used as flying IDs, etc. So please tell us about these 3 points: the role of CAPF, the role of PMF, coordination between them and the police, the coordination with different states, and of course the role of technology in tackling this long outstanding problem. Pravinji.
In fact, see, it's a very important issue which you have raised. As you are aware, the Ministry of Home Affairs in the Government of India has been spearheading and coordinating the entire activity at the national level, and also ensuring the coordination between various state police forces as well. In fact, the Prime Minister himself the Union Home Minister, they have been particularly having constant dialogue with the state police chiefs as well as the state chief secretaries to ensure that the developmental activities as well as the police operations are going hand in hand with a perfect coordination. And among the lower level also, the local SP of, say, from Gadchiroli with the SP from Narayanpur in Chhattisgarh or in Orissa or in Andhra Pradesh, they are constantly in touch with each other. And the entire movement is very well coordinated. So there is no difficulty or no doubt about it. However, as far as the CAPF forces are concerned and the police forces are concerned, so the CAPF also, they are constantly on move. It is not that once they are posted there, they will remain there only. If there is an election in some distant part, maybe something happening in Jammu and Kashmir or some other place, they are immediately lifted and shifted to the other side. So, or they may be brought in from very distant place to the jungles of Chhattisgarh or Maharashtra. And they take considerable period to understand the geography, to appreciate the local requirements, to coordinate with the local forces, etc. However, the CRPA has, as you are aware, now they have created a unit called COBRA. Now, this COBRA unit is especially developed for the jungle activities to tackle the Naxal movement. So they are in the front line. Of course, the other forces, including the CRP, the ITBP, the BSF, they are also there. And after initial period of some orientation, they also get adjusted, and then along with the police forces, they are also in action. So the coordination part is much better. The equipment provided to the CAPF is definitely much superior than the local units. And there is a more than that, the understanding between the leadership of the CAPF and the state police is excellent. So that is ensuring the success story at the ground level. In fact, I remember even as a DGP, I used to have frequent meetings with the CAPF and the local units to ensure coordination. The second part which you raised was about the technology. What is the role of technology in the operations? As you are aware, the entire area is having very thick green jungle, and it's very difficult to penetrate it. There are also hardly any roads to reach the distant parts. So the usage of helicopters is being placed into service for limited purposes. See, in fact, the demand has been that we should use even the services of the helicopters for lethal purposes or for operations. But somehow, because of the concept earlier that these are our own people and we should not use the weapons, etc., against them, so that has been hindering or preventing, and that has not enabled the local forces to take a stern action against such elements. There was, in fact, a move, you may recall, that the army, they were called upon to dominate this Abu Jamal Pahad, and they were encouraged to consider having their training center in Abu Jamal Pahad itself. But somehow that has not materialized, and this Abu Jamal Pahad continues to be a hideout or continues to be a protected place for all these people. But now I think of course the CRP is using drones to a limited extent, but there is a need for the government of India to encourage and provide the drone technology in a bigger way, so that if not helicopters, at least the drone technology should be made available to all these, including the local police forces as well, so that they know the precise place where there is a movement, they know what the weapons they are having, and not only that, we should go a step ahead and use these drones for lethal purposes as well. Because even if you are able to know the movement of the Naxals, the weapons, etc., from their side, the moment you try to reach them, you are on a ground level and they are on the top of the hill. So it's like just the India-China war situation where whoever is on the top, he is the dominating person. So similarly here also, if these Naxals are on the top of the hills, they can immediately notice the movement of the police, then they ambush them and they eliminate them. So to counter it, we must have not only drones, but drones with lethal technology, so that the precise and pinpointed information or pinpointed action can be taken against these persons who are in the remote places. So there is a great scope for, I would say, drone technology to be brought in. The satellite guided actions can be also considered. As you're aware, in the international, say for example, Israel has been using this kind of drone plus satellite technology, and even the nuclear scientist Pitreza was eliminated by using this kind of a technology. So similarly, when we are having this precise information about the leaders and other things, we should not hesitate because the technology is available today in the world, and I'm sure it could be available with Government of India as well. So there should be no hesitation in using these, because these are the enemies and they have to be treated as enemies of the democratic process of the country. And we should overcome this feeling that how to tackle them.
Thanks a lot for your very detailed comments. The technology can be used in two ways. One is the passive way, that is surveillance by drones, etc. And secondly is the more offensive way, like the way the Israelis killed the Iranian scientist, they killed the Iranian general, etc. There are ways of doing it, but I suppose this will have to be accepted at the highest level. But definitely one thing is very clear, that if you do detect the Naxals in a particular area, the local commanders must have the powers to utilize this drone technology, because the technology is available, and the Americans have used it in a very successful way against the Talibanis, and they've been used in successful ways in many wars, such as the Azerbaijan and Crimea war, etc. But that, I suppose, will get into the political domain. I would want you to now comment on, we have got about last 4-5 minutes left. I want you to comment on two issues. One issue is that there are some states, despite having resources, are not adequately utilizing them. If you scan the Jharkhand newspapers, if you scan the Chhattisgarh newspapers, you find that the CAPF there is not as active as it should be. I mean, you just see how many operations have they done, etc. They are passive because of many reasons, and mostly political reasons also. That is one issue. And second is the political will. Some people feel that they're misguided people. There are people, we should not do them. Second is people do not realize as to what kind of a financial damage they are causing to the country. One, of course, is the extortion, which is done very rampantly in this area. And second is stopping the developmental activities. They have a problem of coal, etc., but we cannot extract it from those areas simply because they won't let you do it. So the Naxals being used by China and the enemies of India to stop economic activities in our country, that is one issue I would want you to comment upon. Secondly, also the political will in case of some people, some states in which they are not as active as they should be. And third issue I would want you to talk about later is the role of the society. So over to you as to how the society can help to stop this Naxalism, because we cannot, Naxalism is too serious a problem, only left to the security forces. The society, that is the parents of the people, the other NGOs, people in these affected areas, people who are outside, have a great role to play in educating youth on not going on a role of destruction. So maybe you can offer your comments on that. So may I request you to offer your comments on all these 3-4 issues that I talked about. Pravinji.
First, I would like to talk about the economic activity. See, right from the days of the British colonial era, they have been following what is known as this policy of divide and rule. And they wanted to divide the majority Hindus and say that the Muslims are separate. They wanted to divide the scheduled caste saying that these are the persons from India originally. They wanted to divide the scheduled tribe also from the rest of the society, and they declared them as Adivasi. Now, this term Adivasi itself is totally wrong in the Indian context. See, this is basically a translation of the word aborigines. And as you know, the colonial powers, whether it is in Australia, whether it is in South Africa, whether it is in South America, whether it is in US, all these places, these colonial powers, they went from outside and almost liquidated or indulged into genocides of the aborigines of those countries. On the other hand, the people in India, whom we treat as the Vanavasi, they are not at all the aborigines. They are not at all to be considered as Adivasi or somebody who has been dominated or something from outside. But the same policy of divide and rule continued to be extended even after independence in India. And that resulted into the another important serious problem that along with aborigines, they said no developmental activity should be taken place in these areas. Why? Because they have traditional wisdom, they have traditional culture, they have traditional things, and they will get disturbed. So in the name of preserving the traditional culture, food habits, the thinking and various things of the Vanvasi, the Indian government also continued this policy of colonial British Empire, that not to enter and not to bring these persons in the mainstream. With the result that all this area, the entire India was plundered, but particularly this particular Dandakaranya place, it remained totally inaccessible. No roads were there, no medical facilities were there, no banking operations were carried on, no development was taking place, no educational facilities were available, and that remained the same for last more than 7 decades, except a few efforts, and that was taken advantage, unfortunately, by the Christian missionaries. Now, these Christian missionaries, they have penetrated in the deeper areas, including Chhattisgarh, including Gadchiroli and Andhra Pradesh and various places. And they have been fanning the fears of these people, saying that the outsiders are going to come here and exploit the resources. They are going to exploit the minerals. They are going to take your jungles. They are going to take out your water and various other natural resources. And therefore, what to do? To resist them. So, these Christian missionaries, the ultra-leftists, the international activities, all they combined with the intention of breaking India. So their intention was to break India from within, because they were able to see that the Indian armed forces were so powerful that no power from outside, whether it is Pakistan or China or anybody else, was able to have any impact on the Indian security. So to create havoc from within and create anarchy from within, these forces were encouraged, and they have been. That is what the result of this Naxal movement in all these districts and places. And Manmohan Singh, who was the Prime Minister at that time, he declared that this is the gravest challenge before Indian security, and this is the biggest danger, etc. But except using these words that this is a grave danger, hardly anything was done at the ground level by the forces or by the political masters of these political parties. And the same spirit or same type of things are continued by some of the political parties which are in power in various areas, including maybe Chhattisgarh now, or Jharkhand, or Andhra Pradesh, or some other places. So they keep on using these Naxal activities for initially winning over from the opposition or winning over from the other side. And once they come in power, they are again having a lackluster approach. So they are not at all pursuing or taking the action as desired by the security forces. So that is the problem. Now, what is to be done to overcome this? My suggestion would be we have to make very clear to all these persons in these forests that whatever the forest produce, including the minerals, they are part and parcel, and these resources are going to be used for their own welfare. It is not that they are going to be taken away from there. The coal or mineral ore will be taken away from you, and then it will be somewhere else used by somebody else. It is not so. It will be used for your own development, for all your developmental activities. Apart from other things, we are making full use of the natural resources, including the minerals, including the forest produce, including the water resource, various other things. So that clearing the trust or creating the trust is very important. And there, the role of the society comes in. See, for example, now in Gadchiroli part of the movement, repeated efforts are being made by the proper NGOs from Nagpur side to go there, to interact with the locals there, to provide facilities to them for education, for various other medical facilities. There were repeated camps are being organized by the medical experts for the help of these people. So this kind of a role is there, but still I would say the urban areas or the areas which are not in these jungle areas, and particularly the society at these places, they must constantly remember that they have to take a keen interest in developing these places. We cannot say or just forget that if Mumbai is okay, Pune is okay, Nagpur is fine, then we did not worry about these places. No, we should worry and take keen interest in the developmental activities, in providing. Otherwise, if you don't do it, see immediately these people are being exploited, as I said, by the either Christian missionaries or by the Naxals, either for conversion, and again after conversion they are being used against the government of India. So this conversion doesn't remain only at the personal level, it crosses that line also, and it is used to fan the fires of anti-national activities. So it is a combination. So we have to take interest, and the entire society also must constantly visit, go there, be with those people, understand their difficulties, situations. The situation at the ground level, I must say, is pathetic. It's still not at all satisfactory. You can see people half naked, people, no schooling, no much educational facilities, no medical facilities at all. Various, the things that are one sees there are very difficult to appreciate. And unless and until all of us join hands with the government, whatever government is trying to do, and take upon ourselves the role of bringing these people at par with the other areas, educate them, provide them good facilities, at least medical facilities and educational facilities, that itself will ameliorate the grievances of these people.
Thank you very much, Praveenji. You have covered a large ground. As far as fighting Naxalism or Maoism is concerned, it's a multifaceted level that we have to fight it upon. Social development is required, economic development is required, good leadership is required, police and paramilitary forces and CAPF have to act together. State government has to have a will to take the problem head on. We have to ensure that the fruits of development reach ground level. You are rightly put it. A lot of development is taking place in that area, but it must reach the persons on ground. That is what possibly requires an improvement. The delivery of various services of Government of India have drastically improved in last few years, but they must ultimately reach the people who are in jungles, people who are Vanvasis, as you call them. Then only they will, some of them who do get strayed away to the wrong path, they will come on the right path. So I think it's a multifaceted issue, and I'm sure in the days to come, actions will be taken at all the levels so that we are able to solve this problem once and for all. So all that remains for me now is to thank Shri Praveen Dixit for a very balanced and educative coverage of the topic. Thank you very much, Shri Praveen Dixit ji, and we look forward to having another session with you on some other issues, especially narco-terrorism, maybe sometime later. Thank you very much, Shri Praveen Dixit.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much.